Bam. Rich are the words of Assalamu alaikum, which means peace and blessings be upon you. And I mentioned both Jesus and Muhammad's names. They were the authors of truth and reality. Peace be upon them both. And you're looking at the Underground Railroad television show. We come on every Saturday night at 10:30 p.m. Central Time. Somebody might be looking at this in cyberspace. And today our subject matter is the LGBT movement. And I have a researcher in Chicago, Brother Randy Evans, who was trained by Brother Steve Coakley. And he might even want to say some words about Steve Coakley, so I'll give him the floor. Assalamu alaikum, and thank you for accepting the invitation, brother.
Well, you're more than welcome.
Yes.
No problem, man. I did learn a lot from Brother Steve back in the early 80s. I consider him kind of a mentor, and he had a tremendous impact in terms of my understanding of social political phenomena, so I have much respect for Brother Steve. Unfortunately, Brother Steve made his transition on April 11, 2012 and stuff. A couple months before my mother made her transition. It was around July of 2012, along with my former wife in 2012. So, what
was her name, if you don't mind me asking?
Which one? My mother?
Your wife and your
my wife. My mother's name was Melinda Ree Evans, and my former wife Tracy L. McCoy.
Alhamdulillah, man. Praise be to Allah for
Yes.
him. And I'm kind of holding my breath, like, because to get some information about the LGBT movement. And I am aware that they are awesome. They have a lot of power, all that. And maybe we give them more power than they should have, or maybe we don't. You say, damn, I'm pandering. I want to ask you something, brother, about the LGBT movement. How did it originate? What did it originate from, and what is it all about? Somebody doesn't even know what LGBT stands for.
Well, the LGBTQ, it's just a recent thing. You had people for a number of years. Going back, if you want to go back all the way, there's a book called Homosexuals in History that talks about those who were gay or homosexual. And people didn't know. People like the guy who sold ice, Cecil Rose, he was homosexual. As well as people like Voltaire. And the list goes on and on. Just historical figures who were gay or homosexual, a part of the LGBTQ and stuff. They always, they've been, in the homosexual community and lesbian community. The thing of they've been there for a number of years, and much of the homosexuality, started really in Europe, in the Western world. That type of activities and stuff, and those type of behavior patterns and stuff like that did not exist in Africa. And it was just recently until, really less than 150, less than 200 years ago, where you had, people who were bisexuals, like the slave masters here in the United States, who, according to Tariq Nasheed's documentaries, Hidden Colors, and then the latest one, Butt Breaking, okay? The documentary series talking about how the LGBTQ, how they came about, and how there are different people like J. Edgar Hoover also was a homosexual, he was cross-dresser. He was a former director, the director of the FBI, and it's well documented. As a matter of fact, there's a book called Official and Confidential by Anthony Summers. And it deals with the secret life of J. Edgar Hoover. And it talks about how some people from the mafia, the mob, organized crime figures, found out that J. Edgar Hoover, the FBI director, was not only a cross-dresser and a homosexual, but he also was a mulatto. Yeah. And so, and this has come out, there are documentaries about him, as a matter of fact, by people who were related to J. Edgar Hoover, that he may have been a mulatto. Okay, so, but this whole gay movement, what it is that you have a number of people who are part of the gay movement. These are mostly white males and females and stuff. And much of the stuff, these type of, you find it mostly in Europe. Homosexual and gay activity and stuff, they push that. in those various communities. I mean, here in Chicago, if you go to what they consider Boys Town and around Belmont, etc., You know, and there was a clash between the LGBTQ and they resent the fact that these white males called it boy town when you had women who were lesbians. Well, they had a real issue with that. So there was some challenges, but it was in the Chicago Sun-Times less than a year ago, and they were talking about that.